Welcome back to the Leadership Lounge. I am so happy you have joined us today. Okay, buckle up. What do you get when you combine 20 plus years in financial services, a decade of executive leadership in the nonprofit sector, a lifelong passion for serving foster youth, incarcerated individuals, and workforce development programs, and the courage to bet on yourself and build something new? You get Erin Arnheim, founder of Lense Advisory, an operations and consulting firm helping organizations sharpen their focus and strengthen their impact. Her story is one of reinvention and integrity, of walking away from stability to create something deeply aligned with her values, something you know we care a lot about on this show. After serving as COO and CEO in the nonprofit world, she took everything she learned about leadership, advocacy, and purpose and turned it into her next chapter. Welcome to the show, Erin.
Thank you, Lyndsay. I'm excited to hang out with you today.
I am so happy you're here. When we met, you had so many stories. I'm chock full of stories, but I loved how many stories you had. I knew you had to come on the show. So let's start there and let's talk about, what is your story?
Yeah, I, as you said so well in the intro, spent over 2 decades in financial services. And after my first layoff, I went and, I applied 95% of those jobs for financial services. And I thought, gosh, but I just love nonprofit so much. So I shot for some fun ones, and that's where I ended up. I ended up with a grant-making nonprofit with Jen Hatmaker. And when that came to a close, I thought, what do I want to do next? And so that was a really hard season for me. I was in the middle of COVID, living back in Austin, Texas, as a single person at home, and really experienced loneliness for my first time. And so I packed my bags and I moved back to Chicago and refound my joy. Worked at a accounting advisory service for about 6 months and learned some consulting skills that I hadn't yet learned. And I decided to launch my own thing 2 months ago. And so I am serving small businesses and nonprofits in the operations space.
Now, Jen Hatmaker is no small potatoes, and that is quite the place to kind of have your first major foray into this space.
Yeah.
Just talk a little bit about some of the lessons you learned working in that kind of environment.
Yeah, there were some amazing things about working with Jen that I had never experienced before. I had come from financial services. I tell this story all the time, especially to young employees. Every Monday morning, I would sit at a table and I'd be the only female and about 10 years younger than everyone else. And then I get into Jen's world and it's all women. And it was so incredible. Jen taught me about the fact that there's no scarcity mindset that shouldn't exist. She went to bat for me against men that she didn't have to go to bat for me for. So I always thought, hey, you and I talked about this. When you become a C-suite person, you don't have to deal with men putting you in situations they shouldn't be putting you into. And that's not true at all. It doesn't matter what your title is. And so Jen went to bat for me numerous times. And she just showed me what it was like to stand up for other women. And I really, really appreciated it to her. And then she taught me what access meant. And really, we're going to talk about it later, but sponsorship. She would speak my name when I didn't know it was being spoken.
So important. I mean, we'll dive into this, but certainly as any leader, but certainly as female leaders, I think it's just so important to stand up for your people, to be the example of what good leadership looks and feels like. So that being said, what would you call your leadership superpower?
Yeah, a lot of times they say that people in the C-suite should be able to think long-term and strategically, and I'm great at that. I'm a dreamer. Someone Jen gave me access to that I'd always wanted to meet was Bob Goff, and he wrote this great book called Dream Big, and I love it. But also I'm like the nitty-gritty detail person. And so I think my superpower is being able to dream big, but also get in the weeds and the details. It's something actually that brings me calm and peace. So if I can just dig into a spreadsheet for a night, look at some data, it kind of calms my soul. So kind of balancing the two of those.
Yeah, that's great. So every superhero also has kryptonite. So what is the one thing that you're not so great at?
Yes, my BS tolerance. It's like non-existent. I can't deal with it. So I don't have much patience for like lack of work ethic, lying, being lazy, things like that. I have a tough time with employees that have a different mindset about what it looks like to work hard. It just, I'm not patient in that area.
Yeah, I think that's also an age thing. As you get more seasoned, you get less tolerant, and it's hard. It's hard. And you have to remember too. I mean, when you were young, you didn't know those lessons, so
Yeah.
you had to cut your teeth and make those mistakes. Which brings me to my next favorite question: what's a story about failure that turned out to be one of your greatest strengths?
Yeah, when I was in my 20s, I watched my mom get laid off for her first time. And it
Oof.
was hard. She was in her 50s and it was a 5-year layoff because she was older. And it was a struggle to watch financially, personally, all the things that happened to her. And so when I left investment banking and I moved back to Austin, I took my first COO role, and it was not a great environment. And so I thankfully got laid off, but it was a gut punch that I had not been expecting. And I had truthfully been afraid of for over 20 years, because a lot of my career started right after 9/11. And so I was laying people off year after year after year in the beginning. And I honestly sat at my desk with.
Oh, I lost you for just a second, Erin. Hang tight, y'all.
Are we back?
Oh, we're back. Go for it.
So I sat in the beginning of my career with a box under my desk, always afraid it was going to be me that would be laid off. And then the day that it came, I wasn't expecting it. And so that felt like a total failure to me. What am I going to do? And then 6 months later, I truly landed this dream job. It wasn't that Jen was a celebrity. It was that I'd been raised in a philanthropic family that always volunteered. And I had sat in all these galas giving money away for year after year because Chicago was like that. And so I had the opportunity to make real impact with larger dollars. And it was a dream for me to have this job at a time when the world was hard and shut down. To make a difference mattered. And so I walked into the season seeing failure, defeat, my biggest fear come true. What's next? You don't know when you're going to get a job. And then the most beautiful season came out of it. And you and I talked about this. Those years working at Legacy were the hardest professionally I've ever had. I didn't want to be a CEO. And Jen's book just came out. So for those of you that haven't read it, 3 months after I got my job as COO, her marriage fell apart and I became CEO. Never wanted to be CEO, never had run a nonprofit, had to rebuild a business and a staff and all of the things. But I needed that season to get to today. And so being in the hardest time of my life prepared me for what is today is the best season I've ever been in. So.
Oh, I love that. I mean, to be hurdled into a CEO role when you had no desire or plans to do it, that is not for the faint of heart. And you really have to hunker down and focus and be capable of making some very hard decisions. And this was a company you didn't create. You had to really start from, not from scratch, but you had to be able to make some very hard decisions. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, when I joined, I joined April 1st of 2020, and July 11th, as many read in her book, was the morning she woke up to find out her marriage had ended. And so I had realized that day when I called what we thought was just like our donor processing, that really they were our parent company. We were just a donor advised fund under them. And so under the next couple months,
wait, hold on. Just explain what those two concepts are, because not everybody's familiar.
Yeah. So donor advised fund really is just a fund that any of us could create. Even GoFundMe has them right now, and you can just put money into it, and that's a tax deductible donation right there. And then it can be given to nonprofits after that. That's different than having your own 501c3. So I thought I was COO of a standalone nonprofit, when really, if you look at an org chart, we were like a team under this great organization that was processing and giving grants from like hundreds of nonprofits.
Wow.
And so we decided over the next 12 months to split, and Jen and I did build our own 501c3. We kept the name, we did a rebrand, but we built our own organization so that we could have some more control over things and do bigger things with it. And so that was more learning and a great experience too. But again, things that I never had anticipated or signed up to do. So it was a lot of transition. but I found things in myself I never knew I had. I didn't know I had the ability to sell or do donor development or dream big or grow a company. Like it was an incredible time.
That's amazing. So I might know the answer to this, but maybe I don't. Who believed in you before you believed in you?
Yes, it was a manager that I had at William Blair. His name was Mike. Mike's now the CFO of William Blair. But when he was leaving to move from investment banking to finance, he took me to lunch one day and said, I think that you should be a COO one day. I think you have it in you. And I had never even thought, like we had parents that owned small company. My grandparents owned a company, but I had never thought C-suite. I just loved my job. And that was never something ever on my radar. Honestly, I was in grad school to go be a high school teacher. That was my end goal. And so I read a book and I came back and I thought, this is what I want to do. Like, this is where I'm headed. And so that ultimately was the path that I took, and he was correct. But to this day, Mike is still one of my biggest supporters.
Those early mentors or those leaders that leave their thumbprint on you, they mean so much. So I love those. Okay, so here's a topic that's a little tricky. And I did a post on this yesterday on LinkedIn about, when HR shows up on that call one day and it's that call. So for all those people that are in these tough situations, when is it time to leave a company? And I'm saying this very thoughtfully because neither of us, I think, are going to prescribe this is the handbook. But talk about just conceptually your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, this is a great question because I remember so Jen and I sunsetted Legacy in 2024. And I remember people saying, Erin, you're in the C-suite, you're never going to lose your job. And that is not true because it has happened 3 times now. That's why I started my own company, because oftentimes people will hire like a COO or a CTO too early, right? So the C-suite is not protected. But as you and I have discussed, leaving an organization has a lot of privilege that comes with it. So, are you financially capable? I think that's the first question everyone needs to ask themselves. Also, to be so transparent to everyone watching this, I don't have a huge financial cushion. Yeah. I was laid off at the end of August, and I am on unemployment like many people are right now trying to launch this organization. Yeah. This is my 3rd layoff. So this is like hit me hard. And so I'm taking a bet. So you really look at finances.
Let's just talk about that for a second, because I think people assume, okay, you've hit the C-suite, you're rolling in it, you've totally got it. And here's the reality. Like, for me, my experience, I was in sales, I had made a lot of money and I socked a lot of it away. So I was able to invest in myself. I was able to start my business. If you are in a role, here's my advice. I'd love to hear yours. If you are in a role and it's not great and it's not really what you want, however, you can handle it and you can withstand, collect the money, stay for as long as you can, get yourself in order, hire the coach, get your LinkedIn, dust it off and ready, and really start building your personal brand. And then you can part ways. What say you on that, Erin?
Yeah, I think if you are someone that can manage it, and also keep in mind, like, are you married with small kid? Like, what are your external factors too? Try and do it on the side while you're in the middle of your current role, right? See what you can juggle at the same time. Try and do it simultaneously. I just talked to a founder of a global recruiting company last week, and he said, Erin, it took me 3 years to get mine launched. And so I had a full-time job the whole time. And now he runs a huge global recruiting firm. But and transparently, that's what I'm trying to do. I am looking for a full-time job right now so I can do both at the same time. And so I think finances matter, time matters, and you need to plan wisely and accordingly ahead of time. But I also think mental health matters.
Yes.
And truly. So when I was at Legacy and I had a very low point in the end of 2023, I went to lunch with Jen and I just said, I'm like, feel like I'm hitting bottom. I don't struggle with depression. I don't struggle with loneliness. I'm not that person, but it's hard. It's hard to sit in your house by yourself, work all day.
100%. Oh, you're stuck again, Erin. There she is.
One of the consultants said, Erin, I think you waited too long. You should have left earlier. But I couldn't find a new job.
Yeah.
So start looking before you hit that point and make
Yeah.
sure you take care of your mental health.
Yeah, I also think there is a lot of room for folks to figure out their side hustle.
Yeah.
And the side hustle, don't minimize the side hustle. I mean, when I was coming up, we weren't allowed to do that. That we had clauses in our contracts that said no moonlighting. And now that's not the case anymore. Most people have a side hustle. So figure out what you're really good at. If you're good at content creation, if you're good at creating video, if you're good at writing, ghostwriting, if you're good at, Canva. Oh my God, there's so many people that suck at these things that need that help. You can get paid to do this stuff and sock away a little bit of money as you're trying to figure out your next thing. So sound advice. I hope that folks can heed. So go ahead.
One more thing that I didn't learn about until August, which if I had, I would have started doing this 6 months ago, is guys, you can apply for small business grants and female startup grants or BIPOC founded grants or LGBTQ or whatever identity you have. You can apply for these new business grants before you start your company so that there's cushion there to start it. And that was a delayed lesson I wish I had learned earlier. So if you are considering starting something,
so smart.
Start now looking for those grants online.
Really smart. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the concept of sponsorship versus mentorship, because I don't know that people really know the difference. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I honestly had just heard this term sponsorship at a conference last year for the first time. So I've been blessed with incredible mentors my entire career.
Oh, you're stuck again, Erin.
Am I back?
You said you've been blessed with incredible mentors your entire career.
Yeah. So we had a donor event at Jen's house, our first one. And I saw that a woman by the name of Kelly Steckelberg was on the list. Well, Kelly Steckelberg was the CFO of Zoom. And Jen and I were just launching this new entity, and I needed like a CFO type mentor for some very specific things. So I walked up to Kelly, so full of nerves that I burst out in tears. And I said, could you mentor me on these 3 things? And she said, oh my gosh, sure. She gave me a hug.
I lost you again.
Are we back?
Yep, you said she gave you a hug.
She gave me a hug, and we approached it with, we need this specific mentorship and these specific things. And she and I talk about this all the time. If you're going to ask someone to mentor you, you need to be specific about that mentorship request. It should not be vague.
Yes.
Sponsorship is having people speak your name in rooms when you're not there.
Yeah, we're stuck again. I love this concept of sponsorship, and I think that you always want those people. This is how you build your network. This is just the most important thing you can do in building your brand. You're back, so continue what you were saying on sponsorship.
Yeah, sponsorship is when someone's in a room when you're not there and they mention you for a role, a board seat, like anything that is opening the next opportunity for you. And I think we can all be sponsors of each other.
Yes.
So that's not like a formal relationship. That's just using your network to amplify other people.
Yeah, and guys, this is important stuff. So if you're working on something like a podcast or a book or an article or a TED Talk, or you're doing some project that's getting some visibility, those people that are going to say your name and shout you out and do the posts, like, don't minimize that. That is important stuff. And oh, by the way, here's a hot one. If you're looking for more sponsorship, here's what you can do to fix that. Go out on LinkedIn and go start writing some recommendations. Do 3 this week. I know it's Thursday, but do 3 and tell why this person did what they did or what they meant to you. Make it so beautiful that you make them cry in a good way. And those people will turn around and write you one in return, but they will also say your name in the rooms when you're not in it. And that's really, really important. Okay. All right. I always have a little something for you guys. The last few episodes, I've talked about my Cozy Earth promo. That is still going on, but I've added another one to it. So here it is for you. If you go to my deals page, there's the QR code, and I'll give you a little banner right now. Here you go. If you go to that page, there's 2 opportunities now for you to have a little fun with your shopping. One is Cozy Earth, which has been on Oprah's list 9 times, Oprah's favorite things list 9 times. And the other is Eric Javits, which is gorgeous hats. He has a squishy hat that you can fold and smash in your bag, and it keeps its shape, and then shoes and bags. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. They are both there. Check it out. Happy shopping, and you're welcome. And tell your friends. Enjoy. I get a little commission too, so it's all really good. So, Erin, are you ready for the speed round?
I
This
am.
is the fun part. Okay, so if you've been watching the show, we do a speed round, and it's lead it or leave it. So we are going to jump in right now, and you're just going to answer. If you like it, you're going to say lead it. If you hate it, say leave it. And if you want to explain, you can. Okay, so first one, DEI pullback and rebrand.
Leave it. We need to lead with DEI.
Hell yeah. I agree. Okay. Mandatory RTO, otherwise known as return to the office.
Leave it. We need to lead with you do what's best for your company and yourself.
Agreed. We already talked about this one, so this is an easy one. Side hustles.
Leave it. I mean, lead with it.
Lead it.
Yeah.
Lead it. Okay, here's a new one. And this is interesting because they just passed this in Massachusetts, but pay transparency.
I think we need to lead with it.
Massachusetts just passed a law saying you have to reveal the salaries of everyone. And so if someone asks, they have to share. And it's really great because it's going to level the playing field for a lot of people who are underpaid. So I'm really happy about it.
Yes.
Okay, ready? Quiet cutting, which is companies trimming staff via reorgs, not layoffs.
I think it's terrible.
I agree.
If you are cutting staff, it needs to be a layoff because that means that you really don't need to replace them for 6 months and they need all the benefits of a layoff. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think you should get all the benefits you put in the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Ethical sponsorships. Would you take money from X brand if you maybe were not fully aligned with the brand?
Never.
Okay. And if you were fully aligned?
Heck yeah, I would.
Good. Okay. All right. This one's right up your alley with nonprofits. Overhead myth. Donors expecting 0% admin costs.
Nope. I just made a whole post about this with Charity Water the other day. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on it?
Like, I think it's not true. Like, and I hate the word overhead. I also did a whole podcast on this with someone. It's people. It's not overhead. It's human beings. Like, we need to change the terminology, the thought, all the things.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. So what are you working on right now? I mean, we're starting to get the company off the ground. I believe you said you were looking for a job. So what do people need to know about you?
Yeah, so I am still looking for a job. So like a COO type role, either in financial services, professional services, or nonprofit. But I am also launching this organization to help small businesses, mid-sized companies, and nonprofits with their people, processes, and technologies. You can find me at lenseadvisory.com or on Instagram or on LinkedIn. And I'm so excited to share. I can't say what company it is, but signing my first SOW today with a nonprofit charter school here in Chicago. That is just something I'm very passionate about and their mission. So,
and she told me in the green room whose school it was. This is so good. It's so cool. I'm so proud of you. Yeah. I'm so proud of you. Thanks. Okay, so for the Lense Advisory, who are your ideal clients?
Sure. So I really love helping nonprofits, and they do get a 20% discount with me because I'm so passionate about making sure they get the resources they need to go well. So people that have a strong mission that are aligned with me, I have a strong DEI policy on my website that really put people first, that just need help making sure that their people, processes, and technology are aligned, because if those are not in alignment, their strategic plan will not work.
We're stuck again, Erin.
Am I back?
Yep, you're back. Okay. You said their strategic plan will not work if
their strategic. Shut up. Am I back?
You're back. Go ahead.
Okay. Not coming in just as a consultant, but someone that comes in to implement it. So I'm not going to tell you what to do and leave you. I'm going to build it for you and stay.
Great.
Yeah.
So that's who your ideal clients are. I'm going to put up your contact info so everybody can find you. That's Erin's QR code. So please check her out there and connect with her on LinkedIn and Instagram. Erin, what are some of your thoughts as we're starting to close out this show? Because I want people to really get all the wisdom that you have to offer. So take the floor, please.
Oh, wow. Thoughts. I think we're in a tough season right now, all of us. I mean, this tough season. This makes this 2020 tough season. But I think one of the reasons that I'm focusing on nonprofits is it gives me such joy. Yeah. And so I think the words that I love to share with everyone are, we need to find what gives us joy right now to stay sustained and be our best. And so I just want to encourage everyone, like, yes, we all are working hard and doing our thing, but we need to find the things that give us joy. And most often it's focusing on other people. So right now, what's one thing we can all do to focus on other people each day? So maybe it's dropping some food off at the local food pantry or making a small donation. Or I found this great nonprofit online that you can make lasagna for a neighbor that needs a meal. So just something small that we can do for other people right now that truly will help. Or maybe it's leaving a recommendation online on LinkedIn for someone else. So let's just do something positive each day. And I promise it's going to help our own.
That's something I talk about a lot. And if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling despondent, if you're feeling like the world is just an awful lot, and it really can be, the best thing you could do is to go do something for someone else. Yeah. It will really make such a big difference in how you feel. And whenever you can brighten someone's day and do something important. I mean, I know you do work with foster children and formerly incarcerated people. Like you do the work. And thank you for that. It's so important. And that's in your DNA. That's where you came from. That was part of the reason I wanted you on the show so badly. But I love that people can learn to do more of this with your help. So any other thoughts you want to leave with?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I've learned in this past season is to bet on yourself. If you can't bet on yourself, other people can't bet on you. And so just find the thing in yourself that you know to be true and take the bet, because you're not going to go wrong.
That is wise words. Guys, we talk about this all the time with, facts. That your accomplishments are facts. They're not feelings. It's okay for you to talk about facts. And if you've done something great, it's not braggadocious to talk about it. So don't be shy. Talk about it. Tell people what you've done, because if they don't know and you're not going to tell them, they might never know. So this is how you build your brand. This is how you get exposed to things. It is never too late to start doing that, and build your brag book, everybody. If you don't know what that is, that's just a list of all your accomplishments over time. And when you look at it and you say, my gosh, I've done all these things, it's going to make you feel really good about yourself. So go do that. Go lead with heart. Thank you for watching the Leadership Lounge. And next week, we've got Melissa Carson. I can't wait. Erin, it's been an absolute dream having you on the show. Thank you for your wisdom. And I'm so grateful for everybody tuning in. And just with that, I'm going to close out the show. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks, Lyndsay.